So this might sound like a shock claim, but I want you to know that it's not. But more teachers quit the teaching profession over the summer than any other time of the year. As a matter of fact, it's about 250,000 teachers will leave the teaching profession while they're on summer break. And there's three reasons for this. And by the time we get to the end of everything tonight, you're going to know exactly what those three reasons are and why summer is actually the most important decision window of your entire teaching career. But before I get into that, there's a few things down in the description box, and I want you to go check them out. They're free. They're 100% free. They're always free. In particular, my teacher burnout checklist. I want you to grab that, and it'll kind of help you assess where you're at. And I'm going to put that up in the window here or on the screen here in just a minute with a QR. But for now, that's where you can find it. And so once again, 250,000 teachers are going to leave the teaching profession over summer break, and they will never return back to the profession. And there are three reasons for that. And number one is teachers are burnt out and fed up. And when I say fed up, I don't mean just a little frustrated. I don't mean that they are somewhat annoyed or ticked off. I mean, teachers are fed up, and it's the kind of fed up that builds up over 10 months of giving everything that you have, giving up your time, sacrificing your family, and you get very little back in return because teachers are fed up with losing their entire weekend. They're fed up with having to stay late 10 to 15 hours a week. We'll talk about that in just a little bit more in just a minute. And they're fed up with having to bring home work every single night. And here's the thing that nobody talks about is we do all that for 10 months out of the year, and then we come to summer break, we take our break, and then we come back from break, and within 3 weeks or sometimes less, you're already running on empty again. It's like summer break never even took place. And if you can understand what I'm talking about, I want you to know that that's not in your head. That's not just you imagining that. It's not a personal weakness. But that is what chronic exhaustion actually looks like. And it's what it actually does to an individual. And the data backs that up because over 80% of teachers work 10 to 15 hours per week beyond their contract hours every single week. It's completely unpaid. As a matter of fact, the entire system is dependent upon teachers working unpaid overtime. If teachers stopped working unpaid overtime before long, the school system would be like running on one leg. And so teachers aren't burning out because they're weak. They're not burning out because they're lazy. They're not burning out because they don't work hard. Teachers are burning out because we're being worked into the ground. Literally. And I know that we get these few weeks here during summer, but these weeks that we get off, number one, aren't without problems. Because many teachers are going to spend most of their summer in preparation for next year. I watched a video the other day. It was a teacher, she was vlogging a day in her life of a teacher that's on summer break. And number one, she had to go work a job, which is ridiculous. But number two, while she was working her job, she was prepping her lesson plans for next year. She was working on her Google Classroom. Many teachers are going to spend a lot of summer days in professional developments and useless conferences. I mean, I don't know what it is about non-classroom educators that think that they need to plan all this stuff for the time that teachers are actually off and out of the classroom. And whenever you put in all of this stuff, preparation for next year, professional development, useless conferences, by the time you add all that stuff in to the very short window of a summer break that we get, that is not enough time to adequately recover. As we've talked about here, it takes 6 weeks, sometimes more, for the brain and the nervous system to come out of the fight or flight mode. And whenever you're constantly inundated with the very things that cause you to struggle, the brain and the body never gets to reset out of the fight or flight and back into rest and digestion. That's what teachers have to deal with. Teachers are absolutely fed up with the way the system rolls. All right, let's go over to, there's my friend. Look at that. See, I'm not right. Hey, Teacher Kelly, good to see you in here tonight. It's my great friend. Appreciate you coming in. Look what she says right here. Man, I got this new thing. I can't even get it to work. I'm taking 3 days of professional development. 3 days that she has to take away from her summer break. All right. So, and my teachers have to work during the summer, and I don't mean for the second income, but these lesson plans. Christine, you're absolutely right. Teachers feel like that's exactly what they have to do in order to get caught up or to get ahead. And the truth of the matter is that it doesn't matter how hard you work over the summer. It doesn't matter how many lesson plans you create over the summer. Number one, every good plan has problems, and you'll run into problems that'll take away from your ability to implement the plan that you thought you had. But more importantly, while you're doing school-related stuff on summer vacation, you are not being able to rest and to heal in a way that's proper, because we believe that the number one thing that we can give our students, our school, our district, our principal, we believe that the number one thing that we can give is the most healthiest version of ourselves possible. When we do not give the most healthiest version of ourselves possible, we are not the effective teacher that we want to be, because we're exhausted, and you can't be. So yeah, hey, Teacher Kelly, what is the professional development? What do you got to go to? I know several of my teacher friends that have to go to all kinds of professional development. I got to be honest with you, I'm a rebel, and so I sort of refuse to do that. I'm just not going to do that. I would rather stay home and work in my garage and go play golf and spend time with my wife here, there, or everywhere else than I would anything related to education, which has become very difficult for me because I'm an athletic director. And in addition to my role as the dean of students and as an athletic director, there's a lot of things that the Florida High School Athletic Association doesn't understand either. They don't know that I don't get paid to do Florida High School Athletic Association whenever I'm not in school. And so I struggle with that. And I end up having to take some time to have to go do that. Now, as bad as exhaustion is, and it is bad, it's only part of the story. Because the second reason why teachers quit over the summer is even worse. And I saw something jump in right here. Have you guys heard about this AI in the classroom? Teacher meltdown yet? I have not. Can you explain it to us? Because I'm pretty excited. I want to hear what that is. Is it like a video that's made out of AI and it's intended to show some sort of teacher having a breakdown in the classroom or something like that? Teacher Kelly, new curriculum training. One is a special education training, and Handle with Care. You know what? It seems like I might be familiar with Handle with Care. Maybe you could explain that for us a little bit more. But I don't work with special. I don't work with special education, but I have to go through all kinds of, in my role as dean of students, and I have to go through all kinds of de-escalation stuff. And we used to have to go through this program. It was called CPI. I don't even know what it stands for, but it's, to help you with restraints and stuff like that. Is that what you were talking about right there? Because I'm really not sure. All right. So as bad as exhaustion is, it's only part of the story, because the second reason why teachers quit over the summer is even worse. Number two is no backup and no support. So It's not just that teachers are tired, it's that we are tired and we are completely alone. Because student behavior is completely out of control with hardly any disciplinary measures to stop it. Parents will not hold their students accountable, and they let you know about it. They'll tell you about it in your email. They'll tell you about it over at the pickup line. Sometimes, and I've seen some of these cases where parents show up in the middle of the classroom to tell you about yourself. I have plenty that come into my office that tell me about it. And the administrators, I mean, as much as we love them and we need them, God bless them, oftentimes they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to keep everybody happy. And so when everything falls apart in the classroom, and they will fall apart in the classroom, and you turn around and look for somebody to have your back, a lot of the times, maybe even most of the times, there's nobody there. You're just there all by yourself and you're trying to hold it together. There's no backup and there's no support. And, recent data points this out because it highlights the fact that 78% of teachers have considered quitting since the pandemic. And the number one reason that teachers want to quit, it's not pay. I know you would think that that's exactly what it would be, is that it would be pay. It's not even really classroom behavior. Okay, that is an issue, but that's a symptom of a larger problem. It's not the expectations, the unrealistic expectations, because they are ridiculous. The number one reason why teachers quit over the summer, period, is the fact that there is no support. The number one indicator of longevity in a school, keeping your staff together, the number one indicator is the leadership. And it doesn't have to be the leadership necessarily that's in the building. It could be the leadership that's at the district level. That's what keeps teachers in the classroom. And so we don't have any support from parents. We have little to no support from the administration. We have zero support from our legislation, our legislators. In fact, I would submit to you that they are the largest part of the problem that what we're dealing with. I mean, all of these unfunded mandates that they send down to districts and enforce, all of these ideas that they come up with as they all sit up there in their little cubicles talking about how they love education, how they love teachers, and how we've got their support and how they're going to make sure that we have record pay and all those other things. And then what do? Pile another thing on top of us with no support and with little to no money. And so what you have is you have a teacher that stands alone in the classroom wondering, how in the world can we keep doing this? How can I keep balancing everything that I got to take care of with no support and no backup? And they feel all alone. All right, Teacher Kelly, let's see right here. Oh, yes, that's exactly. It's dealing with students whenever they get escalated. I said that because I actually think our district is implementing that this year. My friend who's on here with us usually on Sunday nights, Dr. Pender, she had to take over that program because they did away with the CPI stuff. I can't even remember what it was. Can't even remember what CPI stands for, but that's what our district used, and I think that's exactly what we're going to. So I'm pretty excited. What is it? I'm not even sure what it is or what it does. Let's see. Christine. I think I'm saying that right because I can't hardly see. Christina B2864. They are those robots that are going into the teacher profession, and teachers really, holy cow, can you drop a link to that in the chat? I absolutely want to see that. Can you drop a link to that? I have to see that. I don't have any words. I have like zero words whatsoever. Let's see. We got John Lopez in here, it looks like. I had a parent this year who wanted alternative consequences for her son. Can you tell me what the alternative consequences were? I would love to hear that. I'm like super intrigued because this could be a positive sign. I mean, we got this, um, we got this chasm between us called the internet. So I'm not sure exactly how to read into that, John. So could you drop that and tell us what it is? All right. So for upper administrators who make decisions, have not set foot in a classroom for years and are out of touch with reality. Got it. Got it. Or even worse. Or even worse. Those that haven't even been educators. You see, that's one of the things here in Florida is a lot of districts in Florida, a lot of counties, I should say, not districts, but counties, they still elect superintendents. Other places appoint them. They get these search committees and they go out and they find them. But a lot of counties still elect superintendents. There is no qualification whatsoever to be a superintendent if you are elected. You don't have to have a high school diploma. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have subbed in a classroom, or you don't need to know anything about curriculum or organizational management. There's no standard. And in Florida, you could be elected. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong because the people have a right to have whoever they want, but I think that there are some unintended consequences that come with that. Just like there's unintended consequences of allowing legislators to decide what is right in the classrooms. They don't have any experience. They say they talk to the best of the best, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know a single person in my district, teacher, classroom teacher, that has been asked by the legislature to speak on an issue. I have no idea at all. All right, what do we got right? Her son was not to have recess, and she said it would affect his well-being if he didn't have his recess for a day. Well, there you have it. You know what else will affect his well-being? Is that if he doesn't learn now that there are consequences for his actions, that will affect his well-being. But even more than that, you know what that's going to affect? It's going to affect her. Because at some point, those types of decisions, standing in the way and trying to bulldoze people over to keep your kid from facing the consequences of your actions, will eventually land in her lap. And that won't go well. I guarantee it. Let's see what we got here. We got delight. Man, I can't see. Delight in living. Amen. That's good. Yes, good support makes a world of difference. I love teaching in a parochial Catholic high school because the parents and administration worked well as a team with the teachers. And I suppose you're probably right. You know, a lot of the stuff that I talk about on here really is directed towards public education. I had a couple of chances to go into private education at my church and probably should have done it because even though you don't kind of make as much there, but maybe trading out the money for some of the headaches is possibly worth it because I think that's the same type of relationship that they have with parents. I think they work together. I mean, it's not that they don't have difficult kids to deal with because I'm sure that they do, but not in the same way that we do in public education. Let's see what John has to say. The kid was being disrespectful to me and talking back. I've been teaching for 33 years at the elementary school level. Well, there it is. I got to tell you, my school's an outlier. And what I mean by outlier is this. And I'm not in elementary school. I'm in the middle high school. So I'm the dean of students of a 6th through 12th grade high school in Florida. And my school is an outlier. That would never happen at my school. There would never be a time where if a kid was written up and we assigned discipline, that the parents would have the ability to come back and say, well, I think that's going to hurt their well-being. Do you think maybe we could do this over here? There would never be a time of that. That would never happen. And so from that perspective, I'm grateful to work where I work. Let's see. My parents gave my sisters and me alternative consequences: the belt or the paddle. That is exactly why I asked that question, because that is what I thought you were going to tell me. I thought you were going to tell me that the parents came in and they wanted their kid to be paddled. Now, with that being said, I have to tell you, I've been the dean of students for the last 7 years, since 2019. All right, and I have paddled many students. There are many kids at my school that get paddled because their parents, some of them will walk in, they'll say, burn his or her tail up, and we're going to put a stop to this. I'm sick and tired of you calling my house. I'm sick and tired of getting phone calls and listening and hearing about my kid. I want you to go get the paddle, and I want you to paddle their hind end. And we can do that in Florida. What it takes in Florida, or at least where I work, is the parents have to come in. They have to sign a release, right? And I put that on file. And then if a issue arises, I call the parents and see what they want. And if they want me to do it, they have to reauthorize it right there. So it's like a double authorization. And then whenever we paddle, we have to have the SRO in the room. So the school resource officer comes in and he has to observe, to make sure that we don't go too far. And I got to tell you, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting job, but absolutely. We put the paddle on the tail right there. John stood my ground with that kid and he lost recess. That's right. That's exactly the way it should be. All right. He was disrespectful. All right. He doesn't know his place yet in the world. He doesn't know that he's in a hierarchy system and that he's got to listen. And that he can't just throw a fit when he doesn't get what he wants. And good, mom learned a lesson too. Little Johnny didn't have recess. He's not going to die. All right? Maybe he'll learn. Take it away. That's exactly right. All right, so here, just to catch everybody up, because we've got a lot of people just jumped in. Just want to catch everybody up. Number one, shock claim. There's more teachers that quit over the summer, during summer break, than any other time of the year. About 250,000. And there's 3 reasons for that. And that's what we're talking about. And by the way, I did not put it up there, but I want to get that up there because there are all kinds of free stuff down there in the description. You can go down and grab it. It's free. It's 100% free. It's always free. At least some of that stuff is. The most important thing is the teacher burnout checklist. It's specifically designed to assess where you're at over the summer. So I want you to jump down there and get it. Also, if you'd like to have a discovery call with me, you can get that down in the description box as well. Or you can get it right there at the QR code. Either way, just whatever. You don't have to suffer alone, okay? And, that's our business here is, we're your guide to surviving teacher burnout, and we are concerned about teachers in particular right here over the summer break, because this is the time where things happen. All right. And one of 3 things is going to happen. Number one, teachers are going to quit. Okay. They're going to quit, about 250,000 of them. Number 2, teachers are going to return to school, and within about 3 or 4 weeks, they're going to be in a worse burned out or in a worse or equal burnout condition than what they were whenever we left to go on break. Or number 3, this is the opportunity to heal as a teacher, right? This is the opportunity to heal as a teacher. Just wanted to put that up on the screen right there. If you don't mind, tell us your grade level, content area, and state, in particular your state. You don't have to tell me the exact place, but I love to know where we reach people, because we have reached people in all 50 states. I don't know how many countries, and it's extraordinarily exciting to me to know where it is that people are watching from and who it is that we're making an impact. So if you don't mind, drop that in. Okay, before I get off track, one more time. We're talking about shock claim right here. Okay, more teachers are going to quit the profession over summer break than at any other time, about 250,000. There's 3 reasons for that. All right, the first reason is that teachers are fed up. We're fed up. We're fed up with all the expectations being unrealistic expectations. We're fed up with losing our weekends. We're fed up with having to stay up late. We're fed up with having to work every single night late. All right. None of that's in your head. It's not weakness. All right. This is what the job is about. Because a lot of people, they'll spend a lot of their summer break preparing for next year when you should be resting. Okay? None of us are being paid out here. Rest. Okay? Or you're at professional developments or at useless conferences. The second reason why more teachers will quit over the summer break than any other time is because there's no backup and support. None. Students are out of control. Parents are out of control. Administrators are between a rock and a hard place trying to make everybody happy. Right? That's where we're at. Now, if exhaustion and feeling all alone in the classroom before enough, there's a third reason. And this might be the most, this would may be the one that hurts the most because it's personal. And nobody talks about it. And that is that teachers are undervalued. Undervalued. Most teachers feel like public enemy number one nowadays. And again, shock claim, right? And I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out and stay with me for just a minute, because teachers in this country have become the easiest target. We are easy targets. I mean, you think about it. Something goes wrong at school. Who do you blame? The teacher. The test scores are down. Who do you blame? The teacher. A parent doesn't like the way things were handled. Who do you blame? The teacher. The teacher is the blame. I mean, every time we turn it on TV or the news, it doesn't take long to figure out that somebody's mad. And, I don't know about where you live, but we have these things, we say we have them. They're just made up by people, but these things called like word of mouth. So I live in Alachua County, Florida. I do not teach in Alachua County, but there's an Alachua County word of mouth, right? And that's where everybody goes. It's really for people to pass along stuff and announcements and stuff like that. But that's where people go so that they can talk bad about other people. And in my district, in the county where I work, there is one, and I have been the target of that thing. I don't know how many times. It got so bad one time that I almost had to send cease and desist letters to individuals that were making false accusations and claims about me on Facebook. We're easy targets because we can't say anything back. It's not like we could get on Facebook and go out and tell everybody, well, the reason why I did that is because your kid this, that, and the other, and X, Y, and Z, and because you came into my office and you wouldn't shut your pie hole and I had to kick you out. We can't go out and say those things. We don't even get to defend ourselves. And do you know what bothers me about that? We're the blame. We can't defend ourselves. And yet we're the ones that spend our own money to buy classroom supplies. We're the ones that give up our own time to make sure everything is taken care of, to make sure everything's in order. We're the ones pouring ourselves into students who will never, many of them, ever say thank you. And yet the public sentiment around teaching right now is at an all-time low, or around teachers, I should say. We're not celebrated. We're criticized. We're not appreciated. We're blamed. We're not valued. We're tolerated. And if feeling disrespected by the public is not enough, this will burn your hash browns right here. I can guarantee you this is going to burn your hash browns. So if that's not enough, recent data shows that teachers in 28 states earn less than 80 cents on the dollar compared to other college-educated professionals. And what that means is that more than half the country's teachers are being told with their paycheck that their education, their experience, and their sacrifice is worth less than almost any other profession that requires the same level of degree. And so I want you to think about it this way. You went to school, you went to college for 4 years. Many of you more, like me, hold master's degrees. I hold two. We go to school, we're educated. And then right down the road is some guy or some gal sitting in a cubicle typing away. They go home at 5 o'clock. We're still working at 6:30 trying to grade papers and plan and make sure everything's taken care of, losing time with our family. They go home at 5 o'clock. We're working till 6:30 and they make $20,000 more per year than you and I do. Is it any wonder that teachers quit, in particular over the summertime? And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. We're at the bottom. We're at the bottom of the public's appreciation, and we're at the bottom of the pay scale. And I can feel that. You can feel that. I know you can. And here's the thing. The summer break is when teachers finally have enough time. Everything's finally quiet enough. And we think about all three of those things, some of us. And then a question shows up in our mind. And we're going to get to that right now because the chat is full. All right, let's see here. The paddle. My father had the words, "To heck with psychology" on it. Yeah. My dad gave me the red behind quite often. I can tell you that. He had a problem, or he had a solution. I guess the doctors told back in the early '80s, that I had ADHD or something as a kid. And my dad had an answer for that, and he used that on me quite a bit. So there it is. Fourth grade. Let's see here. What do we got? John. I got the wrong one right there. Sorry about that. All right, John, fourth grade, all subjects in California. Man, bless your heart, man. That's tough work right there. That's a lot of preps. It's a lot of stuff to do. Elementary school teachers and special ed teachers, you're absolutely heroes. I want you to hear that tonight because that is some tough stuff. I could barely do one prep, let alone have to do what you guys do. Appreciate you. It feels great to be on summer break, 100%. You're like 180-day Rip Van Winkle, and when you're on vacation, you get to see what the rest of the world's doing. That's right. Let's see what else we got. What did you do to trigger my child? Yes. Listen. Okay. I have to call. I make thousands of parent calls throughout the year as dean of students, as you can imagine. I mean, just thousands. I can't even count them. I've probably made, I've probably made 10 or 15,000 parent phone calls in my time as dean of students. And I'll call up and I'll say, "Hey, this is John, and just want to let you know that your kid got written up, and this is what happened." And one of the things that I hear all the time is, "Well, what did the teacher do? What happened before that? What did the teacher do to set my kid off?" And I tell you, I have never gotten really good at answering that question because it offends me. And, I just pretty much tell them, "Listen, unless we've crossed the line in some way or another, it don't much matter. Your kid was told to do something, and your kid wanted to have an argument. And now the argument's over." Absolutely. Get it all the time. All the time. Let's see right here. You spend the first 5 years as a PO teacher because you can't afford the O and the R to be considered poor. I would agree. I don't know what starting pay is in California. I can tell you what it is in Florida. You'll starve to death on it. It's $47,000. $47,500 is starting pay in Florida. All right. Somebody, I saw a teacher the other day that put up on, I think it was Facebook or something, that after taxes, that they had brought home a whopping $34,000 on their teacher pay here in Florida. That's what we make. I know it's different in other places, but my gosh, if you go to the Northeast, I know they get paid big time up there, but the cost to live up there is ridiculous. It's not commensurate at all. And so here's the thing, 250,000 or more teachers are going to leave the profession over the summer break. And there's three reasons why. Number one, we're burned out and we're fed up. Number two, there's no backup and no support. Number three, we're completely undervalued and disrespected. We're undervalued, number one, because of the way that we're treated. Oftentimes, we're treated as the blame, the problem. And we're undervalued because we're not paid. All right? We're paid 20% less than other people who have the same level of education. And so when we get to the summertime and we have time to think about that, it begins to draw up a question in our mind. And the question that it brings up is this: is teaching worth it? Is this still worth it? Is this what teaching is supposed to be like? Or am I the problem? Is there something wrong with me? And I know that sounds like a lot of questions because I said there's a question, right? I know that sounds like a lot of questions, but at the root of that feeling is this question: should I stay or should I go? And I swear I want to break out in song. Should I stay or should I go now? I don't even know what's going on with me right at the moment. And so here's the thing is when you get to summer break, it's the first time all year or at least for 10 months, that things are quiet. There's no rush. There's no grades that are due. There's no parents calling. Nobody needs anything from you right at the moment. And so you have all summer to think about it. And so let me ask you a question right now, just wherever you're at. You can drop it in the chat. I would appreciate that, by the way. How are you going to answer that question this year? How are you answering the question, should I stay or should I go? How are you going to answer that? And I want you to know that asking that question, if that's the question that you got on your mind right now, that's not a sign of weakness in any way whatsoever. It's not a sign that you've made the wrong career choice. It's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's not a sign that you're lazy. What it is it's a sign that you're a human being and that you care. Because teachers or employees who do not care, they don't ask that question. They just walk out the door. So the fact that maybe you're hanging in here with me for just a little bit, maybe that means that you're thinking about this job, teaching. And maybe it's because the job matters to you. But you're having trouble like pinpointing or articulating the pain, why this is so painful. And the reason why it's so painful is because we work in a broken system. And because the system is broken, the system in turn breaks teachers. Teachers, by and large, are broken because of what the system does to them. And so if you're trying to answer the question, should I stay or should I go? It's literally impossible for you to answer that question right now because your nervous system has never had the opportunity to fully recover. You cannot think clearly enough about whether you should stay or go because your body's in fight or flight. So guess what it wants to do? It wants to run away because it wants to be safe. And you've been that way since September. And so you can't get a clear answer because you don't have a clear thought process right now. Because any answer that you give yourself at the moment, it's going to come from a place of exhaustion. It's going to be from a place of depletion, from a place of being unsupported, from feeling like public enemy number one. And that version of an answer is not able to help you make an accurate assessment so that you can make a good decision. You just can't. And I know that from personal experience too, by the way. Because 4 years ago, I woke up and my face went completely paralyzed. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, you should have seen me. I couldn't move. I couldn't move my face. I couldn't blink. I couldn't speak without a stutter. Um, and I thought I had a stroke. My wife thought I had a stroke. My kids at home thought I had a stroke. The kids at school thought I had a stroke. I mean, thank the Lord, I did not have a stroke. But what I did have, according to my doctor, was a medical crisis as a result of chronic stress that nearly cost me my life and my career. And my doctor set me down and he said, John, he said, if you don't do something about your stress is going to do something about you. And he meant that I was going to have a serious medical crisis. A serious medical crisis. And so for the first time in almost 17 years of teaching, I took an entire summer off, and we're going to come right back to that because the chat is lit up over here. Let's see what we got right here. I can't half see these things. Oh, let's see. Seminole. Are you from Tallahassee, by the way, by chance? And that 47K is actually a raise. Yes, you are, because you know exactly where that pay was at. Okay, for years, that pay was stuck at $29,000, and then it went to $34,000, right? And then it went up somewhere around $39,000. You're 100% right. Seminole, you are 100%. Florida, 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 100%. Appreciate you jumping in. Tell us more. All right, I teach an exploratory class, and one of the biggest problems is do-nothing students. Boy, apathy. They don't do anything or do very little work. I just babysit them. You're 100% right. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because everybody makes it in public education. What does a student have to do to fail? What do they have to do to fail or to be held back? In particular, once they make it to middle or high school. And I'll tell you why. In particular, if they get into high school, because schools care so much and districts care so much about their graduation rate, they will make sure that you get through. They will make sure. They'll crunch the numbers, they'll fudge them, they'll do whatever they have to make sure that that student goes on out. And that's why, I don't know if y'all heard about it, and I'd have to look it up right here really quick, and I'm going to try to type while I'm talking, because there was a student here just a while back. She sued her school district, and the reason why she sued her school district is because she couldn't read, and she didn't even know it. Let's see if I can find it. Student sues school district because she can't read. Now it may be crazy. Probably won't even find. Oh yeah, right there it is. Right there it is. I'm going to pull that up. Because it's the most ridiculous thing that's ever been said. That's ever been said in a gazillion years. Look at that. Look at that. She graduated from high school with honors, but can't read or write. Now she is suing. Here she is. Okay, I can't go very far on that because I don't have a thing. But isn't that ridiculous? That's how far school districts will go because they want to keep the numbers up. Absolutely. Apathy. It's a tough one. I stay because I still enjoy the job, and I also like helping to support the newer teachers because I will never forget how far I've come. So, you know what, John? That's exactly the reason why I stay. I genuinely love kids. I genuinely love middle school kids. I genuinely love, and this may be the most ridiculous thing that I've said all night, is I love sixth grade kids. I love sixth grade kids, 100%. I don't know why that is, but I do. I care about them. I believe that I make an impact in their life. And so I stay. What is the best way to solve this problem with do nothing students? I got to be honest with you. I don't have an answer for you. I hear a lot of people talk about, and you'll hear the same thing from administrators and others. You got to build a relationship. You gotta differentiate. You gotta scaffold. You gotta get small groups. You gotta do all this stuff. But it has been my experience. Okay, it has been my experience until something changes with that student, some sort of revelation that they need to get after it, then you're not going to get anything. And whatever you do get out of them, at least today, will probably be some form of cheating. All right. My best answer to you, my friend, is to do everything that you can do and document what you do, so that when they come looking at your grade book, you can just simply say, "Look, this is what I did." Okay, this is what I did. Oh, look here. Teach K to 5 ESA, Jacksonville, Florida. Many of the kids want to learn so badly, but we are so pushed to teach test prep rather than what they really need. All right, there's a fellow Florida teacher. Oh, by the way, my son and his wife, they live in Jacksonville. They were both college athletes. He played college football in Kansas, and she was a track athlete at North Florida. Yes, North Florida University. So they are 100% big time athletes, and they're up in the Jacksonville area. In fact, he finished up. He came back from college, and then he went to fire school. I mean, he could have just short circuited that, I think, and probably saved a little bit of money. Went to fire school, and he works at Flagler Beach Fire Department now. So know that area well. Appreciate you being in here. Let's see here. I understand that funding is based on performance, a rock and a hard place for school districts. It is 100% a rock and a hard place. Listen, you got to be an A school in Florida if you want money. All right. Matter if it, and if you fall down into the C range, you'll have BSI up in your business in a heartbeat, meaning the state is what you'll have up in your business. So you're 100% right. A rock and a hard place. That's why we do not bash administrators or even districts on this channel, because most of what they're implementing is over top of their head. They don't have a choice. All right. Hey, here's my good friend, Sarah Ann, 1976. Good evening. Sorry I'm late. Sixth grade is the calm before the storm. Yes, they are. They're crazy, but I love them. I absolutely love them. Yes, Seminole, University of North Florida. You're right. You're right. That's exactly right. So here's the thing. Very quickly, just to recap. So I got to keep everybody on track. More teachers quit over the summer break than any other time of the year. There's three reasons for that. We're burned out and fed up. We have no backup and no support. We feel undervalued because we're the blame for everything, and we're paid 20% less than others with the same level of education. And so it causes us to question, is this the profession that I need to be in? Am I the problem? And so it's very difficult at this particular point in stage to make a decision, because we're not healthy enough really as a teacher right at the moment to make a decision, because we're in fight or flight. And our tendency then is to run away. And I know this from personal experience. I woke up 4 years ago, my face went completely paralyzed. Man, I thought I had a stroke, but I didn't. But what I did do is, for the first time in almost 17 years, I took an entire summer off, so I could think about that very question. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? And I got to be honest with you, I wanted to leave. I was in such bad condition, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally and spiritually. I wanted to leave. I tried to leave. I did everything I could to leave. I wanted to quit. But in the midst of that summer of taking it off, I spent a lot of time in my garage working on furniture, trying to work through some issues. In the midst of that summer off, something changed. Now, here's the thing, Teacher Talk, everybody that's been in here knows this, is that we're a faith-based organization, and our core verse is Proverbs chapter 4, verse number 23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And what I was able to realize is that in the midst of all that, in the midst of being in my garage and taking a summer off and having time to actually recover and actually think, that I just was not protecting and guarding my heart. And whenever I say heart, I don't mean the muscle, obviously. I mean the command center of your life, the place where your decisions are made, the place where your desires come from, the place where your intentions originate, where your creativity comes from, your passion, your presence, your calling. I realized I had not properly protected my command center, and as a result, I reached the lowest point that I ever reached in my career for sure, and maybe even in my entire life. And what I learned from that experience, and this is what I want to get across to you, is summer is not just time off. It is time off, but time is not enough. Time is not enough to recover from 10 months worth of fight or flight. Summer is a window. It is a window of time that teachers can use to actually recover. But recovery doesn't just happen automatically. Recovery has to be intentional. And that one insight came directly out of the best summer that I ever had. In fact, the entire thought of Teacher Talk and what I do today was born in that summer. In that summer. And so out of that experience, I created a framework. And that framework came from hitting a wall and finding my way back. And I used it to answer the question, should I stay or should I go? The very question maybe you're dealing with right now. And that framework is called the 5-Day Teacher Reset. And I walk you through a 5-step process for teacher renewal. And very quickly, that 5-step process is number one, is you have to recognize what drains you. You have to sit down and take honest inventory and figure out what are the things that are stealing my energy. What is it that's bringing me down? And number two, you have to reframe the lies that the education system has told us. And the biggest lie that the education system has told us is that we're the problem. We're the problem, no matter what it is. It's the teacher. The school's the D, it's the teachers. Kids don't learn, it's the teachers. Never mind that it was already pointed out in here about students that will not do anything. The fact that districts want to graduate kids so that they can keep their money. The teacher's a problem. The third thing that you have to do is you have to reclaim your limits. And man, I can't say enough about that. And the way that you reclaim your limits is through non-negotiable boundaries. You have to have them. Non-negotiable boundaries. Number 4, you have to reconnect with people and purpose. Because the number one thing that happens to a teacher that's burnout is they begin to isolate themselves. They begin to disassociate with others. They begin to disassociate with things that are important to them. And they isolate. And when you isolate, you lose purpose and passion. And so you have to intentionally reconnect with people and intentionally reconnect to purpose. And number 4 is to restore your whole self, because that is exactly the purpose of what we're talking about. Because our goal is to help teachers stay strong and keep teaching. We need great teachers like you. We cannot afford to lose great teachers like you guys. We got to have you. And I don't know what's going on in your state, but I can tell you in our state, teachers are losing their jobs by the hundreds because of budget shortfalls. We need teachers, and we need healthy teachers. And that's why I created that framework. I'm going to put the link to it right here in the chat so you can go get it. Um, you can, you could grab it right here if you wanted to. You could use that QR, or there's a link in the description. You can go down there and grab it. Either way, I want you to have it. I want you to get it, because you can answer the question of should I stay or should I go? And you can have a sustainable teaching career. Teaching's tough. It's always been tough, and it's always going to be tough. But it doesn't have to be tough alone. You don't have to struggle alone. Okay? I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm John. I'm your guide to surviving teacher burnout, and I want you to stay strong and keep teaching. Go grab the 5-day teacher